Hello everyone, this is Shahid. I'm your lab instructor for ENGR1025U Engineering Design course. In this video, I will walk you through your lab project 4, which is basically design of a hand pump. In this lab, you will continue to utilize SolidWorks feature to create various objects. So the objective of this lab exercise is to create this hand pump. So you will be utilizing the tools that you have learned so far in this course, and also you will utilize some extra features that you have not learned before. So in this exercise, you need to create a number of parts. You have this handle, you have pivot block, you have the support, and then you have other elements. So to start the project, what you need to follow the same naming convention as you have done it from your lab um, 1, 2, and 3 projects. So in here, basically what you're going to create is a folder with your student ID and the lab project number. And you could even call it mini design project 4 because you will be utilizing these components in your mini design project 4. For all parts and assemblies, you're going to set the units as mmgs. So to start the first part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a part file which I have already loaded in here to save the time. So I'm going to save this file as, and I have created this folder student ID underscore ENGR1025U lab mini design project 4. That's where I'm going to save all the files associated with this project. So the first part that I'm going to create it, I'm going to call it pivot block, and I'm going to save, and I'm going to set the units as mmgs, and I'm going to select the top plane, and I'm going to go to sketch, and I'm going to select this 2D sketch tool, and I'm going to add a rectangle, center rectangle. I'm just centering it at that origin, and I'm going to add the dimensions which are shown in your lab manual. This dimension is 150 millimeters. This dimension is 400. And the next step, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to hit OK with the dimensions, and I'm going to go to feature, and I'm going to extrude it. And the extrusion is basically blind extrusion. It's 150 millimeters the depth of it. So I'm going to enter 150 millimeters, and I'm going to click OK. So the pivot block is created, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to add 2 holes. To do so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on sketch, and I'm going to right click. Sorry, I'm just going to click on spacebar, and I'm going to click normal to this side, and I'm going to draw 2 circles, one here, somewhere here, and now I'm going to add the dimensions from center to this. The diameter is 30 millimeters, and I'm going to select this 2 dimension is 75 from here to this edge is 100, and I'm gonna add the other dimensions as well. This one is 75, and from here to here is 100, and the diameter for this is the same as 30 millimeters. So the sketch is fully defined. I'm going to go to the feature tab, and I'm going to cut these holes. And I'm going to select in the dialog box for the cut extrude through all. And click OK. And the first part is completed. So I'm going to save this part. And now I'm going to open a new part document. And I'm just going to save as file new part. And the units I'm going to set is mmgs, and I'm gonna save this file as handle. And now for this one, I'm gonna select this top plane, and I'm gonna click on sketch, and I'm gonna draw two circles here, one there, escape, and then I'm gonna add the dimensions. This one is 40 millimeters. This one is 50 millimeters. So they are not sharing the center at the same point. I want them to be concentric. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press and hold my control key, and I'm gonna make them concentric. So this is it, and my sketch is fully defined. And I'm gonna extrude this one by 1000 millimeters. So this is done. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in here, and I'm basically gonna select this face, and I'm gonna look normal to it, and I'm gonna make a cut at the bottom somewhere there. To do that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the sketch tab, and I'm gonna grab a line from there, and I'm gonna drop this line somewhere like that, and I'm gonna hit escape key, and I'm gonna add the dimensions from here to here. It's specified as 22.5, and I'm gonna drag this one, and I'm gonna exit the dimensions. I'm gonna drag this one till you see this one is not it can rotate around. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a relationship for this line so that it will make proper cut. To do that, I'm gonna set this one as horizontal, and now I'm gonna grab this, and I'm gonna come here uh, and make it coincident somewhere on the sketch. I'm doing this step so that my sketch will be fully defined. That's the only reason I'm doing this. And I'm gonna go to features, and I'm gonna make a cut, and I'm gonna make a cut through all, and this arrow I want it to be pointing this direction because I only want to remove the material from this side, not from this side. And I'm going to just click on that, and if you do that, this is the outcome, and that's what basically is needed for your lab exercise. Okay, now I'm going to create your part 4, which is well seal. I have already created a part um, file document. Basically, I have saved it as well seal, and I have set the unit as mmgs. Now I'm going to create a sketch on right plane. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to look normal to it. And to start the sketch, I'm going to click on sketch tool, and I'm going to select on this line, and I'm going to line up horizontally with this one somewhere there, and I'm going to create a vertical line and horizontal line, and then I'm going to move downwards, then come across, come down as soon as I'm lined up with the origin, and I'm going to come and close this sketch, and I'm going to press F key so I can zoom in. So as you can see, I have relationships. All the lines are either vertical or horizontal. And I'm going to start adding the dimensions. Before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two center lines, which are only for construction from here to here. And the next line, I'm going to just create vertical. And I'm going to just escape for that. And I'm going to start adding the smart dimensions. So the first dimension I'm going to add in here is this is going to be 20, and this one, and I'm going to set this one as 25, and this one is 35, this one is 40, and this dimension is 50. So my sketch is fully defined. After I have created the sketch profile that I need, I'm gonna click OK here. I'm gonna go to the feature tab and I'm gonna select a wall boss base. And in these parameters for the axis of revolution, I'm gonna select this vertical center line that I created, and I'm gonna click OK, and I'm gonna save this file. So this file is complete. This part file is done. So I'm gonna move on to part 5, which is T. To do that, I'm gonna open a new part file and I'm gonna save as T. And the first thing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my units, mmgs, and I'm gonna hit save here, and I'm gonna select the top plane and look normal tool, and I'm gonna create a sketch. And the sketch is very simple. It's a basic circle, and smart dimension is the diameter for this circle is 60. So I'm gonna click OK, and I'm gonna extrude this one. I'm gonna go to feature tab and I'm gonna use extruded boss base feature, and I'm gonna use the method as under direction. I'm gonna specify midplane, and the dimension that it needs is 100 millimeters. Click OK, and I have done that. Now I'm gonna select the right plane and I'm gonna look normal too, and I'm gonna add a circle there, and I'm gonna click on the sketch, and I'm gonna draw a circle. I'm gonna come select the origin and drag and finish the circle sketch, and I'm gonna add the dimensions here, which are in your lab manual. They're specified as 40 millimeters, and I'm gonna click OK to that, and I'm just gonna basically rotate the model so you can see the sketch is drawn in the middle because I did it on the right plane. And now I'm gonna use the boss extrude feature. I'm gonna go to feature tab and I'm gonna click on the extrude boss tool, and the dimension for the depth for this distance for this extrusion is in your lab manual 80 millimeters, and the direction is set as blind, and oops, I entered 800, so I'm just gonna click OK. So this is done, and now I'm gonna use shell feature to cut the holes, and to do that I'm just gonna basically select the shell feature, and I'm gonna select this face, and I'm gonna rotate the model, and I'm gonna select this face, and the thickness for this one is to be set is 5 millimeters. And click OK. So as you can see, the holes have been cut, and the next step is I'm gonna add a fillet, and I'm gonna go to the fillet tool, and I'm gonna select this edge, and I'm gonna set the fillet size as 5 millimeters, and I'm gonna click OK. So this completes this part, so I'm gonna save, and And I'm gonna open up a new part file to complete your guide cylinder for part 6. And I'm gonna click OK here. I'm gonna set the unit as mmgs, and I'm gonna save this file as um, guide cylinder. Save, and I'm gonna draw to complete this part. I'm gonna select top plane, and I'm gonna look normal to by right clicking on it. And I'm gonna draw a sketch, and it's basically a circle. I'm gonna line it up here, and the diameters I'm gonna have a second circle there, and the dimensions I'm gonna add here is 50 and 45. So this is 50, the inside diameter is 45, and click OK. And then basically I'm gonna go to the extruded boss, and I'm gonna extrude this cylinder by 200 millimeters. And I'm gonna click OK, and this part is saved. Now I'm gonna create your part 7, which is a stroke slide. To do so, I'm gonna say I have opened a new part file, and I'm gonna save this file as stroke slide, and I'm gonna change the units as mmgs. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a sketch, 2D sketch, which on the front plane. And I'm gonna look normal to it, and I'm gonna go to the sketch toolbar, and I'm gonna draw a sketch there. The sketch, the way I'm gonna draw is using simple lines. I'm gonna start somewhere at the bottom here, and I'm gonna just make a vertical line, and then I'm gonna come across here and move down here, and I'm gonna draw another vertical line, and I'm gonna come here, and I'm gonna basically close this, and I'm gonna add a center line. I'm just gonna line it up with this. This is gonna be used just for the revolution, and I'm gonna add another center line, the horizontal one, so that my sketch will be fully defined. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the dimension. For example, this one is 25 millimeters. From here to here is 20 millimeters. This this dimension is 205. This dimension is 200. And this dimension is 5 millimeters. And from here to the bottom dimension, it's supposed to be 100. So as you can see, my sketch is fully defined, and I'm gonna exit the dimension dialog, and I'm gonna click on feature, and I'm gonna use the extruded boss feature. And oh, sorry, it's supposed to be the revolve boss base. So for axis of revolution, I'm going to select this edge, and I have selected this sketch profile already, and I'm going to click OK. So that is the first first feature that needs to be created. And for the next step, I'm going to select the right plane, which is right in the middle, and I'm going to look normal to it, and I'm going to draw a sketch on it. And sketch is basically a circle. And I'm going to line up with the center there. So, and I'm going to add the dimensions. And I'm going to set this dimension as 30 millimeters. And I'm going to draw a center line. And I'm going to drop from here. And I'm going to come and make it a coincident with the center point. And I'm going to add the dimension for this line as 75 millimeters, and this will fully define my sketch. And now I'm gonna exit the sketch, and I'm gonna select the sketch that has been created right in the middle, and I'm gonna extrude it. And to do that, I'm gonna go to feature tab, and I'm gonna click on extruded boss base, and under the direction here I'm gonna select midplane, and I'm gonna set the dimension here as 150 millimeters. So this will create this extrusion. And now what I want to do is I want to remove, if I rotate the model, I want to make a cut this. I don't want this one, so I want to remove that. To do that, I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to look normal too. Now what I want to do is I'm going to remove this material. To do that, I'm going to select this face, and then basically I'm going to click on the sketch, and I'm going to click right there. I'm going to use this convert entities, and I'm going to select the edges which I want to convert into a sketch. So this is a good tool to have if you are working with the complex profiles. You don't want to redraw everything. And this one is simple, but this one is intended to show you how it works. So you select this edge, and you click OK. So as you can notice here, this um, edge has been converted into sketch, which I can use it to make the cut now. To make the cut, I'm gonna go to features tab, and I'm gonna select extruded cut, and I am gonna make a cut somewhere there. The depth is not that important as long as you don't go and cut this part off. So I'm just gonna leave it at 97 millimeters. As you can see, with this, the excess material in between, it's been removed. So now what I'm gonna do for the next step that needs to happen is need to select to be consistent with your lab manual. I'm gonna select this face, and I'm gonna use the same tool to convert this edge, and then I'm gonna offset it um, in this in direction, and then I will use that to create a boss extrude. So I'm gonna click on the sketch tool, and I'm gonna look basically normal to that. And now I'm gonna select this convert entities, and I'm gonna select this, and I'm gonna click OK. And now I'm gonna use the offset tool, offset entities, and it's offsetting it outside. I'm gonna change this direction by clicking towards inside. The dimension it has added automatically is 10, and I don't need 10, and I'm just gonna simply go click on it, and I'm gonna enter 1. Okay, and the outside sketch, I don't need it. I'm gonna basically go to trim entities, and I'm gonna basically trim this. So now I have this sketch there. This is what I'm gonna use to make an extrusion of 20 millimeters length. And I'm gonna select that sketch, and I'm gonna set this one as 20. So this is created. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move on to the next step. The next step is using mirror feature. I want to have the same thing on the other side. To do that, you have already used mirror feature in the lab before, but I'm just gonna show you how it's done. To do that, you go to Feature tab and you go under this Linear Pattern um, tool, and you select Mirror. And in here, Feature to select, you can just simply select this. And Mirror Plane is basically is going to be the right plane. And as you can see, it's already giving me the preview. And I want the full preview, and if I click OK, so this feature has been added. And I'm going to press the F key so I can zoom in. Please always make sure that your dimensions are as they have been specified in the lab manual. For the video, I may make an error, but I always go back and can change those dimensions. And now I'm going to add some threads the on this new extrusion that I have created. To do that, I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to go to Features, and in here I want to select is the threads. And I'm going to click OK. Normally, when you're designing your parts, you will not create the threads because you will. Your goal should always be to use some standard parts. So in this dialog, with the thread tool, you want to select the edge as your thread location, which I'm going to select this one, and the specifications that you're going to specify in here is the the depth of this one is 19 millimeters. So I'm just going to simply change this to 19, and the it's specified as metric die from select the metric die from the top there, and the diameter or the size that you need to specify is M24. M24, I'm gonna select it. M24 2. So that is specified. And thread method, you want to cut thread or you want to do the extrude thread. That one basically needs to be cut thread. And one thing also I would do for this part is um, we can select this. The thread would be, I will leave this thread option as right hand thread. And I'm gonna trim with the start surface. Basically on this side, it will be trimmed. So I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna add the threads on this side too. To do that, I'm gonna go to Insert again. I'm gonna select Features, Threads, click OK, and select this edge, and it should pull out my last used parameters there. So in here I have a metric die, everything is selected, M24 2.0, under thread method, cut threads, and for thread options I'm using right-handed thread. To blend the thread on the face, I'm just selecting this trim with the start face, and I'm gonna click OK. So this completes this part. I'm gonna save it, and I'm gonna rebuild. Now I'm gonna make sure that my part is consistent with your lab manual dimensions. The sketch that I have created here, it's not the same size as I need. So I'm gonna go and change that there. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this base extrude before this mirror feature. I'm gonna right click on this sketch feature, and I'm gonna basically gonna go into the edit mode, and if I turn around, this one is showing 28. I need this dimension to be 24. So I'm gonna just exit this, and both sides should be updated. So I'm gonna save this file. So please make sure that you have the diameter for this extrusion is 24 millimeters.